she's not talking here about like just rounding up people from abroad, because you can't really do that under current laws. And we looked at this whole matter in our book, Protect Our Country, Policies to Stop Mass Immigration. Chapter 12, we called it Return to Sender. We looked at who can be deported under current circumstances, how to deport them, and some frequently heard objections. And we spoke about how deportation has to be separated from other concepts such as remigration, which has itself also to be separated from the concept of expulsion. And when opponents of deportation start speaking, what they try to do is they try to pretend you're really talking about expulsion, when Kemi Badenoch is not talking about that, nor is Nigel Farage talking about that. They're talking about deportation, which is removing people from the country because they've broken the laws of that country. And that deportation is not even a controversial thing. It's basically the bare minimum that anybody should expect from a functioning, serious, sovereign government, is that you deport people who are non-citizens who have broken the laws in some way or another. And so let me just develop that point a little further. Who are such people and what sorts of laws? Well, we have a whole section in this book about what categories of people can be involuntarily deported, that is, deported against their voluntary will. And the first are people under our system who are inadmissible asylum seekers. That is, people who, if the system in this book was brought into being, people who arrive at in the back of a lorry and say they're claiming asylum, people who have come across the channel and claim that they want asylum, people who have used essentially illegal methods of entry into the country. These should be inadmissible asylum seekers. Under our current system, we have to consider them to be entitled to all the rights that the UN Refugee Convention gives them, which is essentially rights to remain in the country until we can prove otherwise that they're not at risk. But under this present system, under the system in our book, anybody who enters via an illegal method would be inadmissible. They can be deported straight back. They should be deported straight back. Under the present system at the moment, we can and we should deport failed asylum seekers. That is, people who have claimed asylum and we've decided that they don't have a justification for it, and so we're not going to give them asylum. They're failed asylum seekers. They should be deported. And right now, for some reason, the government finds it very difficult to do that. Very difficult indeed. But they should all be deported straight away. They're not citizens. They don't have a right to asylum. The having is on. They need to be deported. The other method, the other people, clandestine illegals, that is, people who sneak in to the country and are discovered by the authorities at a later date and who have got no legal right to be in the country. They've just snuck in somehow. They should just be deported straight away as well. The other categories are people who breach their visas. So if your terms of your visa set out what you can and can't do, but you do things that you're not meant to do, such as if you're on a student visa and you start working in the black economy, then you've broken the terms of your visa and you need to be deported. If your visa has run out and you should have left, but you're not leaving, you've stayed on, you should also be deported. Other people who can be deported are simply foreign criminals at the end of their sentence. They are meant to be deported as the system exists at the moment. They should all just go. And the other category is criminals who are dual citizens. So if you're a British citizen and you're also the citizen of a foreign country, you break the law, you should be deported to the foreign country because you have a country to be deported to. So all these people can be quite adequately, quite legally deported, and most of them at the moment are not being deported. So the bare minimum we can ask is that they're all deported. They're not citizens and they've all broken the law. And as for the dual citizens, well, they will have broken the law as a dual citizen, and they can go back to whatever country they hailed from. So these are all people who can be quite easily deported and should be. And how many tens of thousands those would add up to, I don't know, but it certainly would be hundreds of thousands when you consider the failed asylum seekers who are still in the country. And if Kemi Badenoch is serious, then she'll need to be setting out a very strong program showing how she's going to do that and how she's going to get round the laws that tend to keep them here, which is to say the ECHR, the European Convention on Human Rights laws, which tend to keep them here. It's the it's the UN Refugee Convention, which encourages them to come in, and it's the ECHR, which makes it difficult for us to get rid of them.